Just in time for tax day here in the US. Have a special guest for us today. Heather Zeitzwolfe is here to talk all things business and accounting, and she has some great suggestions for us. So check out this slightly longer episode and grab your notebook so you don't miss any of her suggestions.
Welcome to the Course Creators HQ podcast, helping you navigate the latest techniques for creating and marketing online courses. And now, here's your host, Julie Hood.
Hey y'all, so I'm so excited to have Heather Zeitzwolfe with us today. Oh my goodness, and she is incredible, and I have to tell you guys, so in the past, I've probably mentioned I used to be in corporate in accounting, most boring environment ever. And the first time I met Heather, I was so excited because she made the whole business, taxes, money, all that accounting stuff so much fun. So I wanted to have her on the podcast because she is so much fun to hang out with. Plus, she's got some incredible ideas for us just in time for tax season. So I'm so glad we could have her. She is not only a profit strategist and business mentor, she does have that little CPA letters on the back end of her name too. So Heather, thank you so much for being here. Can you give us a little more introduction to you and how you ended up here doing this with the wonderful colors? I love it.
Thank you, Julie. This is so exciting because I love your show and you've been on my podcast, Get the Balance Right. And my podcast is actually on hold right now. I'm going to be doing a rebrand, and it's based on my new business called Get Radical with Your Business. And yeah, I came out with a membership where I support and mentor creative business owners. And I also have a cruise retreat that's coming up later on this year. So there's a whole bunch of new stuff that's coming. And so I'll be rebranding my podcast. But one of my favorite episodes I ever had was when you came on my podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. There's something special about podcasts, I think, that you don't get in other mediums. So thanks. So, okay, let's get into some of the good stuff because you guys, I quizzed her to get some good stuff for you ahead of time. So let's start because I know a lot of my listeners are new to the business side of things and the money side of things and trying to manage all of that. So let's start with something that's super important that I don't know that people all know about. And that's the difference between when let's say we're working on taxes and we're reporting an income. What's the difference between reporting it under our Social Security numbers and under a business account? So can you point us in the right direction here?
Yeah. Okay. So just a caveat, this is not tax advice, not legal advice. Well, you want to make sure that you're actually checking with your tax preparer, your CPA, or whoever you work with. But just in general terms, when you start off a business, kind of the default is that you are just a sole proprietor. You're just starting a business. And a lot of times people just start a business and it's under their own name. They use their Social Security number, and maybe they're just using their personal bank accounts. But the thing is, we want to treat our business like a business. So we should actually probably register with the state that we're in. And of course, every state is different. So, you check with whatever your state is. I live in the state of Oregon, so I can register for an assumed business name, but it really just depends on where you're located. You could go a step further and register yourself as an LLC, single member LLC. If it's just you, if you're a partner, you can be a partnership. But that's getting a little bit more complicated. So let's just think of ourselves as sole proprietors. And the default is your Social Security number. Well, that's just an easy way to set things up. But if you want to treat yourself like a business, the best thing to do is to get what's called an EIN from the IRS. And it's super easy to do. You can go on to the IRS website. It's totally free. And you can register your business with the IRS and get an EIN. And what's great about this is when you are doing like 1099s and maybe you're a contractor, you don't want to be giving out your social security number to people on documents that could be floating around out there. So this EIN, it's a number from the IRS. And to me, I feel a little bit better handing people that number than I do my social security number.
100% agree with you on that one. So, okay. So get that EIN, not a big deal to get going. And you said something from a business strategy perspective that I want to sidebar us just a second. When it comes to that point where we're trying to pick out a business name, I would love to hear your thoughts on whether it should be something specific or something more general. Like, do you have an opinion one way or the other? Because I know there's pros and cons to both, so kind of curious what you think.
Yeah, so I mean, of course there's the marketing aspect of what you want your business name to be. Then there could be legal ramifications, like say you start using something and it's trademarked by somebody else, and then they're going to be like, hey, you can't use that, that's a trademark term that I have, or whatever it is. I had when I started my business, I'm a child of the 80s. I love new wave music. And so my business was called New Wave Accounting LLC. Well, before I knew it, I was slapped with a cease and desist from the Wave accounting software, which it just happened to be that they were bought out by H&R Block. And like that same week, I got a cease and desist. I have no idea if someone was combing the internet or what happened. But I did my due diligence in my own state. Nobody had that name in that state, but this is, a global company, and their lawyers from, I think it was from Canada, sent me this. So I had to redo all of my branding. I had just done my website. I had gotten my business cards arrived in the mail the same day. It was terrible.
Oh, way. Oh.
Yeah. So yeah. As far as the name goes, I would say, do your due diligence. I ended up renaming my my business. My assumed business name is my last name, Zeitzwolfe Accounting. I thought, well, my husband and I, we did a mashup of our names. Mine was Zeitz and his was Wolf. And so I was like, I know nobody's going to give me a cease and desist on this name, but
thank goodness. Oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Yeah, but of course that URL is like impossible. So now I go under getradbiz.com.
Oh, and nice and short too.
Nice and short, exactly.
And fits your branding 100%. So,
yep.
Okay. And good to know, like, it's not the end of the world. I know people get hung up on this for a long time and can stop them from moving forward. Just pick something. And I know I have a DBA for me because my original LLC name does not fit at all anymore. So, you just make it work. So
exactly. Okay. It's better just to get started, right?
Yeah. And don't let that be the reason you don't. So that's awesome.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's move on now to mistakes that you see people making around their income. Do you have any suggestions or things that we should be watching out for? Not advice, but just general education around this.
Yeah, exactly. So we had mentioned about treating your business like a business, and part of that is having a business bank account. So when you go to the bank, you can give them your EIN and say that you want to open up a business bank account. We want to make sure that we're not commingling our funds with our personal stuff versus our business stuff. And we want to be able to track our income and track our expenses. And it just makes it a whole lot easier if it's all in just one bank account, or maybe you have a business credit card. Just keep that stuff separate. So that's like rule number one. The second thing is, if you are designing courses, you're probably signing up with like various websites that might have like Stripe attached to it, or PayPal or something like that. So you want to make sure that if you're operating under your business name, that you put that stuff in the business name. So register those with the business name. Because what can happen is, if you're giving them your social security number, now when they send the IRS these 1099Ks, that might be under your social security number, but you're claiming it under your EIN. And it just gets really confusing, and you could end up getting tax notices. I've seen this happen to people where they were like, I claimed the income, but the IRS is like, well, wait a minute, we see this under a social security number, not your EIN. So it can get messy. So you want to make sure that you're capturing all of that stuff under the correct entity or whatever you're doing your business under. The other thing is, with the income, make sure that you're reporting all of the sources. So, we're into podcasting. There's things like Buy Me a Coffee and Patreon and all these things. And people think, oh, it's a gift. No, it's not a gift. It's income. You're going to have to report that as income. So just make sure that you are being very conscious about all the places that you've got monetization going, and make sure that you're reporting all of that, because it's going to be going back to the IRS for sure.
I'm so glad you said that. And I was real careful about that at the beginning, but I think that's something that could be so easily, if you're not really thinking it through, and then, or even going back if you change things and get that EIN a little bit later to make sure you're getting that all set up correctly. So excellent suggestion there. Thank you. Save people a few headaches along the way.
Okay, I was going to just drop another little super tip, if that's okay.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So here's another thing that I see people kind of goofing up with, is that they look at the income that's coming into their bank from these entities like PayPal, Stripe, and all that. Keep in mind that that is the net of the fees that they're taking out. And you'll want to make sure that you're reporting the true income and then the fees. So you can always go on to their website and go to your account and then download a report at the end of the year. So that way you can use that to fill out your taxes. So you know exactly how much was income, how much was fees. And if you're paying sales tax or, remitting sales tax or whatever, that information will be in there too.
Oh, I love that. So you don't miss any pieces of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
And I know one thing I do, and you probably did this too, is I tried to limit how many places I collected money from. So, I didn't have 50 different sites where people were paying me. I wanted to just have it mainly in my Stripe account. So, and then maybe a little bit of PayPal. And then I try to keep it to just that. So, do you do that too?
Yes, I have. Yeah. I only have 2 payment places for me. And, sometimes I feel like, am I shooting myself in the foot, not having more, but I don't want to have that mess later on to clean up.
Yeah. That April is always fun enough. I don't need more headaches. So yeah. So, okay. That's awesome. Awesome suggestions on income. How about expenses? Because that's the other half of the puzzle for us. So I know you probably have some good ideas for us.
Yeah. So expenses, as I would imagine that you work with a lot of people that are maybe coaches, or they could be other podcasters as well. We have a lot of things that we're buying for our business. And sometimes, if you're not tracking these things, you may forget about them when it comes to going to do your taxes. So keep in mind that, you use your cell phone. A lot of people forget that they can deduct their cell phone, fees, like if they pay T-Mobile or whatever, your internet. Those are things that people have a tendency to forget because it's just like part of our daily lives. And just make sure that you're just tracking everything. And again, if you're tracking things in a business bank account, it's way easier to figure out what your expenses are for the year than be like, didn't I order this with my Amazon card, or didn't I get this or that? And, the messier you make it, the messier it's going to be if you're ever audited by the IRS. So we hope that we're not going to be audited, but, just think of it in those terms. Like, you want to be prepared, get everything organized. So one of the best things you can do is just, when you buy something that's for your business, you can scan the receipt and just upload it into a Google Drive. If you don't have like a secure portal or something, keep a folder with that year and just put that receipt there. That way, and you can always go back and reference it. If you use something like QuickBooks, you can always attach your receipt to that transaction. So there's different ways of doing that, but be sure to just track all of your expenses.
Yes. Oh, that was a part that, when I've had a couple years where I had to go back and like dig and look for things, not fun. So let's not do that.
Yeah. And if you were ever audited, of course we can download our bank statements, credit card statements from the banks. But sometimes, if say you get audited several years from now, the bank may not have those documents anymore. Like they only keep them for a certain amount of time as PDFs, and then you have to actually order them, and it takes a while, and they print them out, and then there's probably a fee. So it's best to, go to your bank, download the statements, keep them, but you really want to have receipts for things. So, if you buy a computer, keep a receipt for that, because, if you want to claim that, you want to be able to prove what it was for.
Right. So good. Okay. So now I'm like, okay, am I going to be ready here for tax season? And I know we haven't talked about this before, but I'm really curious what your thoughts are on accounting software. Do you have certain ones you like or recommend, or any like ways to help us pick them out? Any suggestions there?
Yeah, I have a lot of opinions on this. So,
Oh, good. Perfect.
well, I think it really depends on the complexity of your business and where you're at. And I like to keep things as simple as possible, and whatever is going to be manageable for you. So if you are a person that is a pen and paper kind of person, and you're like, I don't want to deal with this online software, well, then don't. Just put things in envelopes and just, tally them up. You can make it that easy. Years ago we used to always do things on paper, right? So it doesn't have to be fancy. You could do it in a spreadsheet. You could do it in a Google, on like a Google sheet even, but you want to make sure that you are capturing everything. Now, this is okay for like if you're a sole proprietor, but if you start to become like, if you want to be taxed as like an S corp or something like that, you'll want to make sure that you're using full bookkeeping software, because you need to report both sides of the transaction. So the debits and the credits. So I know Julie knows about debits and credits.
You wouldn't believe how long I had to explain to my husband, it's not like your bank account. It's different.
I know, it's like, yeah, it's the opposite. Yeah. So, software has really changed over the years. There's tons of bookkeeping software now. It seems like, even people that are like businesses that are giving out loans even have like free online bookkeeping software. So there's a lot of options out there, but you just want to make sure that whatever you're using, you can access, you understand how to use. And, because Julie, about the debits and credits, that there's the two sides of that transaction. And people that don't understand that, when they go to use some of these software packages, they are not necessarily being conscious of the fact that maybe there's another side to that transaction, and it's getting actually really becoming a hot mess. So I've seen this happen. Wave, FreshBooks, I mean, they work, but you need to know what you're doing. So I've seen a lot of mistakes with that, mistakes with QuickBooks. So this is an area that I wouldn't get cheap, not just because I offer bookkeeping services, but have a bookkeeper set it up, make sure that you've got your account set up, and make sure, like, if you're going to take care of this yourself, that you understand how to enter things, because really it can become a hot mess, and then it's more expensive to unravel that than it is just to do it clean from the get-go.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I agree. Just hire out that bookkeeping stuff. Plus, it's not that much fun anyway. So, and to be fair, I think if you are getting that together and you're getting reports regularly, you're going to be a better business owner, because you're going to know your numbers.
Totally. And if it's, one of the other things that kind of trips people up is reconciling their books. So they think like, oh, I just, put things into QuickBooks, I hook up my bank, the bank pulls the stuff in. Well, that's only part of what's going on. So you actually have to go through and make sure that the transactions are correct in there. And, a lot of times people are like, yeah, it's fine. And I look at it and I'm like, no, because, it's technology. It can have snafus. It can detach. You can have duplicates. You can, be overstating your income. You could be understating your expenses. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that could go wrong, but not to make people panic. So
no. It's totally manageable, and especially get a hold of Heather, because she can point you in the right direction, help you get things set up. I think there's also something to be said too, which you mentioned, is if you wanted to have it set up and then you feel kind of comfortable with it, you could actually have them show you, or have you show them how to kind of do some of the pieces themselves, maybe if they need to save a little bit of cash or whatever. So
exactly. And I actually work with clients to do just that, because some of the clients I work with have gone to business school. They've taken, basic accounting classes. They think it's kind of fun, but they don't maybe know their way around QuickBooks. And so I sit with them, we go through it, we make sure that it's okay, and then they're good to go. So,
awesome.
Everybody that listens to this, if they're doing courses and all this, they're smart people. They may be able to figure this stuff out.
Awesome. So if somebody wants to find out more about you, where should we go to get connected to you, and what's the best place?
Okay, so if you go to getradbiz.com, you will find me there. And you can email me at heather@getradbiz.com. But if you go to my website, you'll see that there are all kinds of events that I put on, free workshops. I do a monthly workshop on how to run, read, and rock your profit and loss statement. This may sound like a boring topic, but I actually make it fun. And it's amazing all the things you can learn about a profit and loss and ways that you can affect your business just by understanding how to read that document.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know you did that. Hey gang, I'm going to start putting that in those of you who get my Sunday night emails. I want to start putting that in there, Heather. So you'll have to let me know when they are so people can jump over. I do that for a lawyer that I like. And so, we're just trying to pass on all that good info and make life easy for everybody. So, any freebies that you want to share that people could come sign up for, I can put them in the show notes too.
Yeah. So the monthly workshops, and then I will be having some other workshops coming up. I also, like I mentioned, I have a membership. It's called Get Radical Profit Growth Accelerator. Everyone is welcome to come check it out for free if you want to come and hang out with my group. It's the Rad Pack. So
you guys, she makes this stuff so much fun, and it is so dry. So I love how you make it so much fun.
Yeah, so you can come join us, and we have content creation times, we have strategy sessions, action sessions, masterminds. So come check it out, and if you want to stick around, I'd love to have you.
Fantastic. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Heather. This has been so much fun to get to chat with you. And any last words or pieces of advice or suggestions for folks?
Yeah. So one is April 15th. We think of that as our due date for our tax return. And we think, oh, I'll just file an extension. Well, keep in mind that extension is an extension to file, not to pay your taxes. So your taxes are due April 15th. And also just be aware that, wherever you're filing, you may have state filing and, local filing and all of that stuff. So work with somebody that can help you navigate all of those laws.
Yeah, that's the fun part of being a business owner, but you make it way more fun than anyone else I know. So thank you so much for being here and giving us all those little secrets that I'm sure somebody's like, oh my goodness, I didn't know that. So thank you. And looking forward to getting to hang out with you more this year. I'm excited about your new branding. It's so perfect for you. So
thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. This has been really fun, Julie.
Awesome. Take care. Thanks for being here. So I hope you enjoyed all this wonderful advice from Heather, and I've taken notes for you. So just check out the show notes at coursecreatorshq.com/141, and you can get all of the notes about what we talked about. And good luck with your taxes, especially my U.S. folks who are wrapping those up potentially in the next week or two. I hope they go nice and easy and smooth for you. And we'll catch you on the next episode next week. Take care.